Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel. My name is Sophia, and today I want to talk about something so simple, so personal, and yet so powerful: your night routine. A lot of people think success comes from doing more and more during the day. More work, more pressure, more hustle, more noise. But the truth is, the way you end your day matters just as much as the way you begin it. Your night routine is not just about getting ready for sleep. It is about protecting your peace, calming your mind, caring for your body, and setting yourself up for a better tomorrow. So in this video, I am going to share my full night routine with you in a very real, calm, and practical way. I want this to feel like a peaceful conversation, as if we are sitting together in a cozy room with warm lights, a cup of tea, and a quiet heart. And because so many of you love content that feels relatable and grounded, I will also speak about this in a way that connects with life in the United States, from busy cities like New York and Chicago to peaceful places like Seattle, Austin, San Diego, and small towns where evenings feel slow, soft, and comforting. So let us begin. When the day starts to fade and the world begins to slow down, I think about one thing first: releasing the energy of the day. The night routine begins in the mind before it begins anywhere else. If you have had a stressful day, if work felt heavy, if school felt overwhelming, if the traffic in Los Angeles drained your patience, if the cold air in Chicago made you want to disappear under a blanket, or if a long day in Texas left your body feeling tired and sore, the first thing to do is pause. Pause and breathe. I like to remind myself that I do not need to solve my whole life before I go to bed. I do not need to answer every message. I do not need to finish every task. I do not need to carry the entire day into the next one. That is where peace begins. I usually start by putting away anything that feels mentally loud. My phone, my laptop, the endless scroll, the news, the messages, the notifications, the pressure to keep comparing myself to other people. In the United States, we live in a world where everything moves quickly. People in New York are rushing through packed streets. People in California are chasing goals under bright sun and bright screens. People in Florida, Georgia, and Nevada are balancing work, family, and life in their own way. No matter where you live, the world keeps asking for more. That is why the night routine has to be intentional. I do not want my mind to be the last place I visit at the end of the day. I want my mind to become a safe place, so I begin by making my room feel peaceful. I dim the lights. I clean a little if I need to. Nothing big, nothing exhausting, just enough to remove visual stress. A messy room can make a busy mind feel even busier. A calm room can quietly tell your body, "You are safe now." Sometimes I open a window if the air feels fresh outside. If I were in Seattle, I would probably love the soft, rainy feeling at night. If I were in Arizona, I would appreciate the quiet heat cooling down. If I were in New York, I might hear the distant sound of the city still moving outside, while I create my own pocket of stillness inside. That contrast is beautiful. The world can be loud, but your space does not have to be. After that, I take care of myself in small, meaningful ways. I wash my face slowly. Not rushed, not like a chore. I try to treat it like a reset. Because your skin has been through the whole day with you. It has felt the sun, the dust, the air, the stress, the sweat, the environment. It deserves care. When I wash my face, I think of it as washing away the weight of the day. I imagine the tiredness leaving my body and my mind becoming lighter. Then I brush my teeth and keep my body clean and comfortable. These small habits may seem ordinary, but they are actually powerful. They tell your brain that the day is ending. They create a pattern, and the brain loves patterns. Patterns create comfort. Comfort creates rest. Now, let me talk about the emotional side of a night routine, because this part is very important. A lot of people go to bed carrying things they never put down. Regret, worry, shame, comparison, unfinished dreams, messages they wish they had sent differently, words they wish they had not said, mistakes from the past, fear about the future. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something very important. You do not have to sleep inside the same emotional storm you lived through during the day. You can choose release. I often take a few quiet moments and ask myself 3 gentle questions. What did I do well today? What drained me today? What do I need to let go of before I sleep? These questions are simple, but they can change everything. They help me notice the good, understand the hard, and release what does not belong in my heart overnight. Maybe I did well by finishing an important task. Maybe I did well by being patient with someone. Maybe I did well by getting out of bed even when I felt tired. Maybe I did well by making one healthy choice. That matters. So many people in places like Boston, Denver, Atlanta, and San Francisco are trying so hard to measure their lives by huge achievements, but small wins matter too. Small wins are the bricks that build a stable life. Then I think about what drained me. Maybe a difficult conversation drained me. Maybe I spent too much energy worrying about money. Maybe I compared my progress to someone else's social media highlight reel. Maybe I let fear talk louder than faith. When I notice those things, I do not judge myself. I simply observe, because awareness is the beginning of healing. And then I ask myself what I need to release. Sometimes I release anger. Sometimes I release disappointment. Sometimes I release perfectionism. Sometimes I release the idea that I need to have everything figured out right now. That one is big. You do not need to have your whole life figured out before bed. You just need to be honest, rested, and willing to begin again. After that, I like to spend some time preparing for the next day in a very calm and simple way. Not in a stressful, controlling way, just in a thoughtful way. I might choose my clothes for the next day. I might place my bag where I can easily find it. I might refill my water bottle. I might make sure my notebook, keys, charger, or work items are ready. This is not about becoming rigid. It is about removing little sources of friction from the next morning. Because mornings in cities like Houston, Philadelphia, or Washington, D.C. can already feel fast. If you wake up and have to search for everything, your day begins in chaos. But if a few things are ready, your morning becomes lighter. And a lighter morning often leads to a lighter life. Now let us talk about something else that is very important in a night routine: feeding your mind the right energy. I do not want the last thing I absorb to be negativity. So I am careful with what I watch, what I read, and what I listen to. Sometimes I choose a soft podcast. Sometimes I read a few pages of an uplifting book. Sometimes I listen to calm music. Sometimes I simply enjoy silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is rich. Silence helps you hear your own thoughts again. We live in a world where people are always consuming content. In the US, whether you are in a huge apartment in Manhattan, a college dorm in Ohio, a home in rural Kansas, or a busy neighborhood in Miami, screens are everywhere. They can be helpful, but they can also steal your peace. That is why I try to choose content that calms me instead of content that overstimulates me. I ask myself, is this helping me rest, or is this making me more restless? That question alone can change your whole evening. Then I think about gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful parts of a night routine because it shifts the mind from lack to abundance. At night, I like to think of 3 things I am grateful for. Maybe I am grateful for my family. Maybe I am grateful for a warm meal. Maybe I am grateful for my room, my bed, my health, my work, my friends, my chance to start over again. Sometimes gratitude is not loud. Sometimes it is very simple. I am grateful I made it through the day. I am grateful I am still learning. I am grateful I have another chance tomorrow. When you go to sleep with gratitude in your heart, your mind rests differently. It softens. It stops fighting. It opens. and I think that is a beautiful way to end a day. Now, let me talk about the body, because the body deserves care too. At night, I like to notice how my body feels. Am I tense? Are my shoulders tight? Is my jaw clenched? Is my back aching from sitting too long? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Do I need warmth? Do I need a few deep breaths? These questions are not dramatic. They are respectful. Your body speaks to you all day long. At night, you can finally listen. Sometimes I stretch gently, just enough to relax my neck, arms, and legs. Nothing intense, nothing like a workout. Just a soft, calming release. If I had spent the day walking through a busy city like Chicago in winter or standing for hours in a cafe in Portland, my body would probably appreciate that extra care. Even if I had just been sitting at a desk, my body still needs movement. It needs permission to unclench. Then I focus on hydration and comfort, a little water, a comfortable blanket, a pillow that supports me well, clothes that do not feel restrictive. These things may sound small, but sleep is built on small things. Sleep is not just about closing your eyes. Sleep is a result of the environment you create, the thoughts you allow, and the way you treat yourself before bed. Now I want to speak honestly about one of the biggest problems people face at night: overthinking. Overthinking loves the quiet. The moment the house becomes still, the mind sometimes becomes loud. It starts replaying conversations. It starts predicting worst-case scenarios. It starts revisiting old memories. It starts asking questions that do not need answers right now. What if this happens? What if I fail? What if I am not enough? What if I made the wrong choice? What if everyone else is ahead of me? If your mind does this, please hear me clearly. Not every thought deserves your attention. A thought is not a command. A fear is not a prophecy. A worry is not a fact. At night, I try to remind myself that my mind can be gently redirected. I do not need to solve every fear before sleeping. I can place the fear down and return to peace. Sometimes I use breathing to help with that. A slow breath in, a slow breath out, again and again. This is not magic. It is regulation. It helps the body understand that it is safe to relax. I also like to keep a small journal nearby. If something is bothering me, I write it down. Not a perfect paragraph, not a beautiful essay, just honest words. Maybe I write, I am worried about tomorrow. Maybe I write, I felt hurt today. Maybe I write, I need to trust myself more. Maybe I write, I did my best. Writing helps move thoughts out of the head and onto the page. Once they are on the page, they become easier to hold. They stop circling so aggressively. And if I need encouragement, I write something kind to myself. I am learning. I am growing. I am allowed to rest. I do not have to earn sleep. I do not have to prove my worth tonight. That last one is so important because many people think they have to work until they collapse in order to deserve rest. But rest is not a luxury only for the successful. Rest is a need for every human being. Whether you are a student in Michigan, a nurse in California, a teacher in Virginia, a cashier in Ohio, a freelancer in Colorado, or a mother in North Carolina, you deserve a night that helps you heal. You deserve softness. You deserve restoration. You deserve sleep that does not feel guilty. Now, let me share what the emotional feeling of a good night routine should be. A good night routine should not feel like punishment. It should not feel like another task you have to perform perfectly. It should feel like a gentle landing, like coming home to yourself, like telling your nervous system, you did enough, like telling your heart, you are safe, like telling your body, you can relax now, like telling your mind, tomorrow is allowed to wait. That is the heart of it. A night routine is not about becoming a different person. It is about becoming a more cared-for version of yourself. And the beautiful thing is, the best routine is the one you can actually keep. It does not need to be fancy. It does not need expensive products. It does not need to look perfect on social media. It just needs to be real. For one person, that might mean tea, skincare, and a book. For another, it might mean prayer, journaling, and silence. For someone else, it might mean tidying a desk, preparing clothes, and listening to soft music. There is no single correct version. There is only the version that helps you rest and feel safe. If I imagine different parts of the United States, I can picture how the night routine changes with the lifestyle. In New York, the routine might be about finding calm in the middle of constant motion. In Los Angeles, it might be about shutting off the bright energy of the day and returning to yourself. In Atlanta, it might be about balancing family, work, and a peaceful home. In Seattle, it might be about cozy rain, warm drinks, and quiet reflection. In Austin, it might be about slowing down after a creative, busy day. In small towns across America, it might be about porch lights, soft wind, and the comfort of familiar surroundings. No matter the place, the purpose is the same: rest, recovery, peace, and tomorrow deserves that version of you. So before I end, I want to leave you with something personal. I believe your night routine is a form of self-respect. It says, I matter. It says, my peace matters. It says, my health matters. It says, my future matters. Because when you care for your nights, you care for your mornings. And when you care for your mornings, you care for your life. So tonight, I hope you give yourself permission to slow down, to breathe, to unplug, to wash away the day, to forgive yourself, to prepare gently, to rest without guilt, and to trust that tomorrow will come with new energy, new strength, and new chances. This is Sophia, and thank you so much for spending this peaceful moment with me. If this video helped you feel calmer, more organized, or more understood, then I am so glad. Take care of yourself. And before you close your eyes tonight, I want to take this moment even deeper with you, because a night routine is not only about actions, it is also about identity. Who are you becoming when no one is watching? That quiet version of you, the one sitting in your room at night, maybe with a soft lamp on, maybe wrapped in a blanket, maybe holding your phone but not really scrolling. That version of you matters more than you think. That is the version of you that shapes your life. Not the version that performs in front of others. Not the version that tries to impress. Not the version that compares, but the quiet, honest, unfiltered version. And this is why your night routine is so powerful, because it is one of the only times in your day where you can truly be real with yourself. So let me ask you something, gently. When the world goes silent, do you feel peaceful or do you feel restless? There is no judgment in that question. If you feel peaceful, it means you are already creating space for yourself. If you feel restless, it simply means there are parts of you that need attention, care, and understanding. And your night routine can become the place where you begin to listen. Sometimes at night, I sit quietly and think about my life, not in a stressful way, but in a curious way. I ask myself, am I moving in the direction I truly want? Am I living according to my values or just reacting to pressure? Am I taking care of myself or just surviving the day? These are not easy questions, but night is a safe place for honest answers. Because during the day, especially in fast-moving environments like New York offices, California startups, or busy campuses across states like Texas and Florida, we are often too distracted to reflect deeply. Night removes the noise, and in that quiet, truth becomes clearer. But here is something very important. Reflection should not turn into self-criticism. You are not here to attack yourself. You are here to understand yourself. There is a big difference. Understanding creates growth. Criticism creates fear. So when you reflect, do it with kindness. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a close friend. If your friend had a hard day, would you say, "You are not good enough"? No. You would say, "You tried, you are learning, you will do better." So why not speak to yourself the same way? Your night routine is also the perfect time to rebuild your inner voice, because the voice you fall asleep with becomes the voice you wake up with. If you fall asleep thinking, "I am behind, I am failing, I am not enough," you carry that energy into the next day. But if you fall asleep thinking, "I am improving, I am learning, I am doing my best," your mind wakes up lighter, and that changes everything. Now let's talk about dreams. Not just the dreams you see when you sleep, but the dreams you carry in your heart. Night is a beautiful time to reconnect with them. During the day, responsibilities take over. Work, studies, bills, responsibilities, expectations, they fill your schedule. But at night, even if it is just for a few minutes, you can return to your vision. What do you want your life to look like? Where do you see yourself in the future? Maybe you imagine yourself living in a peaceful apartment in California, waking up with sunlight and calm energy. Maybe you see yourself building a successful career in New York. Maybe you dream of traveling across the United States, from the mountains of Colorado to the beaches of Florida. Maybe your dream is not about location at all. Maybe it is about freedom, stability, happiness, or simply peace. Whatever your dream is, night is a gentle reminder that it still exists. It has not disappeared. Even if progress feels slow, even if life feels uncertain, even if you feel stuck sometimes, your dream is still there, and reconnecting with it at night gives your mind direction. Because when your mind has direction, it rests better. It does not wander aimlessly. It knows there is a purpose, even if the path is still forming. Now, I want to talk about something that many people do not realize. Your night routine affects your confidence. Yes, confidence. Because when you consistently take care of yourself at night, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you can show up. You prove that you can create structure. You prove that you respect your own well-being. And that builds quiet confidence. Not loud, not arrogant, but deep and stable. The kind of confidence that does not depend on other people's opinions. The kind of confidence that stays even when life feels uncertain. So when you brush your teeth, when you clean your space, when you prepare for tomorrow, when you choose calm over chaos. These are not small things. These are acts of self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Now let me slow this down even more. Imagine this moment. You are in your room.